Welcome to the Inspired Business Leaders Podcast, brought to you by Inspire Wealth, bringing you interviews with top business professionals, empowering you to understand our current business climate and the successes and struggles other business professionals have overcome. Here's your host, Nick Bour.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Inspired Business Leaders Podcast. I am your host, Nick Bour, with Inspire Wealth. Today we have on with us Tiffany. Tiffany has a very unique entrepreneurial background, and I'm really excited to get started and find out a little bit more about her journey and her business and how she feels she differentiates from some of other business owners that are doing what she's doing. So, Tiffany, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Tiffany, let's start with tell me a little bit about your background and what exactly your niche is and how did you get involved in that?
So my background in the corporate world is basically around implementations and process improvements. So kind of a consultant basis where I would go around in multi-million-dollar companies and either start new divisions for them or essentially come in and break things down, processes, people, procedures, and then build them back up to be more efficient, more profitable, more fun, and more in line with what their company goals were from that moment moving forward, kind of breaking it down to build it back up.
Okay.
So getting into my entrepreneurial space, that's essentially what I do for my clients with other entrepreneurs. So my focus with my clients is helping them scale their business, helping them grow their business. And we all know that we have to scale before we can grow, because scaling is all about creating those repeatable processes that we can just kind of build and expand upon, and essentially doing more with what you have. So I've taken the 12 years of experience that I have in the process improvements and implementation and, made a business out of it, helping other business owners.
Tiffany, I think that's so interesting that you say that, because I feel like even within my business and also with my entrepreneurial background and experience, I feel like there's so many people out there that are portraying themselves as a business coach or as, a business process specialist. And I find it very, very intriguing that you actually spent several years in the corporate world doing exactly what you're doing now, but on a different scale. So now you're owning your own business, you're an entrepreneur, just like your clients are. And am I right to assume you're working with different levels of clients, meaning small to mid-size to even larger businesses?
Yes, absolutely. I help individuals that, I help them turn their ideas into action if they're trying to, move out of that corporate space and step into their entrepreneurial journey. I help individuals that are kind of in that in-between phase, I like to call, between like that 3 and 7 year mark, where, you've kind of succeeded in spite of yourself, right? And your business is put together with duct tape because you're just adapting and adjusting as you're going, because there's no way to plan for everything. And my favorite is to work with individuals that, have been in business for a longer period of time and kind of forgot where they came from, so to speak. And what I mean by that is, things have always, one thing that it always motivated me in my corporate life was, this is the way we've always done things. Well, you've changed. Your business has changed. Your client needs have changed. Systems are, possibly outdated. Your marketing might be outdated, right? If you're in a position where you're constantly just getting business from referrals now, you have an opportunity to grow your business by looking into different, systems, methods, tactics, procedures, opening up different products or services and things like that, instead of just kind of being mundane and just doing the same thing that you've always been doing. Like, why not throw some glitter and spice in there and, experience more profit and more fun and help even more people than you have been if you're just kind of going with the flow and doing what you've always done.
It's so important. I couldn't agree with you more. I think there's a lot of business owners out there that are just stuck in the objective of running their business, and they really don't think about out of the box thoughts and different strategies on how to really think differently to grow their business or to make their business more efficient. And I think that there's a huge opportunity of small to mid-sized businesses out there that could really benefit from working with someone like you.
Yeah, absolutely. That is something that I see a lot, just functioning with those blinders on. And you're right, not looking at what's new and different and what other opportunities. And to have someone from the outside that can kind of come in and poke holes in things and ask questions. What about this? Have you thought about this? Where are you going with this? That really allows the entrepreneurs to take that step back, which is so important. It's so important to look at that big picture. Where am I now? How did I get here? Where do I want to go? And what do I need to do in order to get to that next step, right? So kind of take that stale away. What's working? What's not working? Clean things up. Processes, people, products.
Couldn't agree more. So no, that's great. So help me understand a little bit, about. So obviously your company name is Process Prowess. First of all, is there something behind the name? Because obviously that's a unique name. Process, yeah, okay, I can get that. But Process Prowess, tell me what that means to you.
Process prowess came from process, yes, but actually I'm going to start with that because it has two meanings. I also deal with the mindset aspect of it when it comes from, hey, I've hit my goal, now what, right? You get to that point where you're like, oh crap, I forgot how I got here. I don't feel like I can grow or get any bigger. I guess I've hit my plateau, and this is just how things are going to be. So I always say that you have to process before you put the processes in place, right? So that's one piece of it, that dual meaning with that process. And then prowess is just another fancy word that happens to start with a P that signifies, that's my expertise, is in processing and creating those processes that, that's my skill, that's, what's ingrained in me, and it's just who I am.
Okay. No, I think that's great. And like I said, I've just in my experience as an entrepreneur, even outside of my business, I feel like since COVID, like there's any kind of marketing firm, any kind of process, hey, I can make your business more efficient, more profitable. I just think like everyone's trying to portray that's what they do now if they're a marketing or business consultant. And it honestly drives me nuts a little bit because it's like, I'm all for people that are really experts in their area and they know their niche and they know what is working, what is not working, and really have honed over the years how to really help business owners and entrepreneurs get to that next level. And it really sounds like you've done that. You've been in the corporate world. You've seen what was working with multi-million-dollar companies. You've taken that and gone on your entrepreneurial journey. And if you don't mind me asking, how long have you been in business? How long have you been doing what you're doing now?
I've been out of the corporate space for 8 years now.
Okay. And you were in the corporate space for how long?
Since I was legally allowed to work. But I've been doing the process improvements to some effect, either building or improving businesses for about 12 years. Okay.
All right. So out of those 12, you've been actually 8 years on your own as an entrepreneur at that point.
Yes.
Wow.
I've built several businesses for myself as well as friends and family, and then I decided, you know what, I'm going to do this for a living. So,
I give you a lot of credit. You obviously know what you can help with. You know what areas you can help from an improvement standpoint, from a process standpoint. I'll be the first to tell you, and this is just in my business, from a financial planning standpoint, if you don't have processes in place, from an email drip, from just making sure that people, if they're not booking an appointment immediately, that they're in some kind of process follow-up to automate and help, not need to physically call that person or email that person. I mean, it's extremely hard to grow and to try to scale if you don't have systems like that in place. So like I said, I
Right.
feel like what you do and what you're good at, I feel are so important. So help me, let's go to, another question is, what does your process of working with you look like? Like if my company, if I said as my founder and CEO, okay, Tiffany, I want to accomplish a few things over the next 12 to 18 months. Help me understand what the process of working with you would look like.
Yeah, I'd love to. I kind of like to explain it like bar rescues for your business. Essentially, I come in, I let you kind of brain dump, what's working, what's not working, what does this look like? And when we're talking about processes, it's not even so much just what that, workflow looks like for your business. It's reevaluating what's going on in the market right now. It's reevaluating your market strategy. Who's your audience? Like I said, what products? And we kind of break everything down. And my biggest thing is I want to know what it is that you enjoy doing and what do you not enjoy doing. Because there's a lot of opportunity, especially with a lot of clients that I have that have teams, to make sure that their teams are the right people in the right place that can do the right things, or that they're being fully utilized. So how the process starts is essentially, like I said, you just kind of let me have it. I sit there and just let you go on and on and on based on, the subject matter about what things look like in your business. And I'll take notes, and then we take a step back and I'll kind of plug in the holes with any questions or details that I have. And then we talk about priorities, goals, again, how you got to where you are, what your plans are for the future. I break things down in terms of how much time is the actual business owner spending doing certain things, because, the running the business part is not the fun part. It's actually providing the service or the product, that you represent. So by understanding what the business owner is spending their time doing, we can kind of say, okay, is this necessary? Is this something that we need to scrap? Is this something that we need to streamline or automate? To be able to save them more time. What they choose to do with their time, if it's to get more clients or, handle more business, cool. If they want to take a vacation, cool. It's all about just being more efficient. So we really just strip everything back. And I do incorporate the, like I said, the likes and the dislikes of the actual entrepreneur, not just what does the business look like, right? Because it's all a mixture of the people and the processes. And then we get to work. I work with my clients on a weekly basis, and I build project plans for them based on, how we prioritize whatever needs to happen first. I make sure that those are extremely flexible and fun, because this sounds like a lot of work, right?
You're
like
right
coming
on
in
that.
and breaking your business down, So that's why I do it for them. Like, that's why I'm, essentially brought onto their team, so to speak, because I want them to feel like I am a team member with them, kind of doing this all for them behind the scenes. And I will build all that for them, prioritize it. And then that way they know if they're taking these plans or to-do lists or however we decide is best for them to manage their time, that they know that no matter what they're doing, they're always working towards that end goal that we talked about in our initial conversation. Because it's really easy to, go down the Google rabbit hole or YouTube or take this class, take this course, keep those blinders on, whatever. But now you've got this new, fresh, I didn't think of that. Just tell me what to do, like essentially like your instruction manual for your business. And you have that confidence, no matter how busy you are, what mood you are. If you just need to knock out a couple emails, cool, then you did that. If you need to restructure your website when you have a day where you have a lot of time and, ability to focus, then that's what you do on that day. But at least no matter what you're doing, you're staying down that one straight path towards your goal.
And I think that's so important, because as you brought up, and I think that's such an important point, just listening to you with all the project plans and everything you put together, it sounds like a ton of work. It sounds like it's very overwhelming. So I love the fact that you come in and break it down, but you also look at the business owner and say, listen, like, I'm going to work with you on this. This is not going to be you got to do everything, and I'm just here behind the scenes helping you. No, I'm working with you to make sure that whatever your top priorities or your top goals are, that we're going to work together to help put processes in place to make sure it happens.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that accountability piece is huge I am not that coach that's here's your homework. I'll talk to you next week. And then next week say, why didn't you do this? I like I said, I like to be viewed as a member of the team. I help manage that plan. Every week that we talk and touch base, we talked about what went well, what didn't go well. I like to get in front of things. What's the plan for next week? But the biggest piece of that is what could potentially get in your way. You got to pick up the kids from school. You got this going on. You have, are you fully booked? What could potentially get in your way? Because it's really easy to get derailed and deflated if something, you have what I call good intentions, right? Because we can't always call them goals. Sometimes they're good intentions because we don't know what life's going to throw at us.
Exactly.
But if we can get in front of those things, and then kind of talk about boundaries. If X, Y, Z happens, how are you going to handle this? How are you going to remind yourself that this was something that was important for you to do? How are you going to put your foot down and say no? Or how are you going to, not put yourself in that, oh man, I'm just going to start over again tomorrow kind of mindset, and really continue to keep the momentum going. And that really helps build confidence just in general, right? Hey, I was prepared for this. I got this. You're not getting in my way. I got stuff to do, right? And then it just keeps that going. And then at the end of the week, they feel like they've performed something. Nothing got in their way. They stood their ground. They were focused. They were clear. They were intentional. And they were, ended up being productive.
Wow. I think that's amazing. And I think that is so important as a business owner. I mean, there's so many days, even me, I'll leave the office and I'll be like, what the heck did I get done today? Did I accomplish anything? And it's like, as well as I do, there's some days it's like, wow, I got a lot done. I feel really good. Then there's other days like, okay, I don't know what I did today, but I feel like I did a lot of nothing to accomplish what I really needed to do. So I need to make sure that doesn't happen tomorrow. So
yeah, exactly.
And as an entrepreneur and as a business owner, I think it's so important not only that you feel like you're accomplishing something, but you're also working toward those next steps. And whatever that is, whatever that looks like for you. So whether, that's a goal, if there's something you're trying to achieve or get to, whether it's from obtaining new clients, whether it's from a revenue, whether it's from a profit percentage standpoint, whatever it is, I think someone with your background and your expertise, I think your what you're doing is invaluable. So I give you a lot of credit. And I especially give you a lot of credit for realizing within the corporate world what might be missing or what might be able to be improved upon and going on your own and doing it, because that's something, that was what I saw on the financial side years ago. And I'll tell you, it was not an easy choice to go on your own and be that entrepreneur and business owner, in addition to needing to, as you said, do all those things within your business that you may or may not like doing or may not be good at. But in the early years, you have to do it because you can't go out and hire someone.
Right. 100%. Yes. There's definitely, a difference between being busy and productive. And absolutely, when you make that decision to become an entrepreneur, the time that you spend with those learning curves of all the things you never even realized were a component of, owning your own business, from bookkeeping or, anything. So many things, so many aspects that you can kind of get stuck in the weeds. You can get frustrated. It can, it will force you to spend, again, more time working on in the business as opposed to on the business and building and growing. So yeah, that's a good point. And that's why a lot of people too, don't take that leap. We've got a ton of entrepreneurs in the corporate space that are just, they need to replace multiple six-figure salaries with, when am I going to get my next client? And that can be hard and that's scary. And having gone through that process, myself, right, just like every other entrepreneur, but also like in a way of I had my own multiple six-figure salary to replace too, and that's what I was set out to do, and that's what I did within 3 months. So just knowing that it is possible and knowing that if you remain focused on the right things, right, on the right things, celebrate those wins, learn from your mistakes, and have somebody that holds your hand to go through it with you and, help you adapt and adjust. Right? Because how many times do you go down this path and you think that you're doing the right thing and you're talking to the right people and you're creating the right products or services and nobody's biting? You don't want to spend so much time going down something that's not working. You need somebody to be like, hey, what are we doing here? What are you seeing? Okay, maybe it's time that we make this adjustment, make this tweak, make this shift, completely do something else instead of spending months, years, going down something that's just not working, or it's broken, or it's just not something that the market needs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, couldn't agree more. So I think that's great. So I know this next question I know is going to be, probably a little hard to answer because I know, results are going to vary, but, what kind of results can your clients expect, after working with you, or whether it's a period of time, whether it's a project you're working on, whether it's a couple specific systems or things that they want to implement with you, whatever that looks like, what can they expect?
Well, that's a really good question because, like you mentioned, everybody is different. All of their needs are different. Their likes, their dislikes are different. Do you have a team? Do you not have a team? How long have you been in business? My process is so personalized and customized to the individual that what they can expect, my end goal outside of them meeting their goals that we talk about initially is for them to not need me. And I know that sounds weird and probably counterproductive to my business, but I don't just want to teach, tell them what to do, right? Mm-hmm. I want to teach them the processes, teach them how to think about different things, teach them those boundaries, teach them those, best practices and behaviors and things so that when they encounter something new that comes up, they now feel equipped and prepared to be able to handle those things. If they want to roll something out that's new again, they can go back and reference everything that we've done together, and they can just replicate it. So my goal, again, is for them to, yes, meet whatever their goals are, whether it be to retire themselves from their business, grow their business, streamline it, whatever it is, to take those big things and break them down into small pieces. But the biggest thing is for them to have the confidence to know that now they can do this on their own next time.
Okay. Yeah, no, and I think that's great. I think that's a good way to look at it. It is, like you said, it does seem a little counterproductive, but you know what? It's obviously working for you. And that was going to be one of my final kind of questions / things I wanted to discuss is, do you have different variations of like your fee structure? Is it a monthly retainer? Is it, it's X amount for this project? Like, what does that look within your business for the business owner to know?
Well, I do have personalized, customized packages based on our initial consult so that I know, how long are we going to need to work together? What is my level of involvement? Sure. I also just have set standard one-on-one packages that are broken out into 3 months at a time. And those are, all paid up front, and we just knock everything down in that period of time if it's more standard, right? It like I said, my process is very personalized and customized, and it's not until I have that conversation that I really know exactly where my level of involvement is going to be. But I also even just do real quick, short business intensives, 2 or 4 hours where, like I said, the clients can just say, hey, this is what's going on. This is where I want to be. And I draft them a plan of action, which essentially is just a super detailed outline that they can use as a to-do list or some framework to go do it on their own. So it all depends on what the needs of the clients are.
I think that's not only fantastic, but I also think that's great for you and your business because just like we all know as entrepreneurs and business owners, we have to be customized. We have to be really specific based on what our needs and objectives are for our customers and our clients. So I think it's great that, as you mentioned, completely customizable plans and packages, because you're right. There are going to be business owners that you're going to look at and do that initial consult, and you're going to say, you know what? I think a 6-hour consult, over a couple calls or meetings is going to be great, and that's all you need, and I'll be able to do X, Y, and Z. And there's going to be others that say, you know what, you're going to look at them after everything they're trying to accomplish, and you're going to say, we need a 90-day or we need a 180-day block of time at this amount of hours per week or per every 2 weeks to be able to work together to accomplish these things. And I think it's great that you recognize that and you know that up front, so that when you're positioning it to the client of what's the best plan of action for them to reach their goals, you can specifically custom tailor it for them.
Right. And I appreciate that. I'm not the coach that has a proven 5-step method to turn your business around, because, I mean, you can take what works and you can leave the rest for somebody else with stuff like that, and nothing, towards people that do have processes, because some things are easy as step by step. But yeah, absolutely. The personalization is so important. And, my goal, again, is for my clients to really feel like they're moving forward quickly and intentionally, as opposed to absorbing a bunch of knowledge and information and trying to implement it on their own, or trying to make it work for them. And my reason for that is I've had experiences in my past through coaching where, 4 or 5-figure programs, but they're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Like, no, that doesn't resonate with my business. That doesn't align with what my clients want. And, I'm left at the end, like, feeling more frustrated and confused. And that's why I built my programs how I did, because I really want that personalized touch. You feel like you are my only client because you're the only person that has the needs, wants, and desires, that you do. So you need to be treated that way as well.
Yeah, and I can completely relate to that, because in the financial world, that's every single client situation is different. And every financial plan that we're doing is completely custom tailored. So I can definitely relate and appreciate that's what you're doing from a process and growth and efficiency standpoint for your clients. So let me kind of say this one last thought, and then we'll kind of wrap up here. So, again, Tiffany, I can't stress this enough. I think that what you do is invaluable, and the fact that you didn't just wake up one day and say, hey, I think I'm going to be a process coach, or I think I'm going to help be an efficiency coach for business owners. You actually learned it and learned what works, what doesn't work, and how you can custom tailor this based on the business goals and objectives after leaving the corporate world. I do think you have a huge advantage over a lot of your competitors, if you really have a lot of competitors out there, because of how custom tailored you are. And that was going to be one of my final questions / thoughts is, are there any particular, not lines of business, but is there any particular types of business that you tend to work better with than another? Like manufacturing, insurance, I mean, anything from a business focus. Do you have a specific niche in particular that you've had a lot of success with over the years?
I wouldn't say that I niche myself from an industry standpoint. I've helped remodeling businesses, photographers. I help a client build a yoga studio. I come from an insurance background from before my years of process improvement. So I don't really have an industry that I lean more towards or would say specialize in, because at the end of the day, processes are processes. As far as understanding and asking the right questions of my clients with where they are, who they are, how they are, what their industry looks like, and then doing that, external research and things like that. It's just kind of the way that I'm wired. What makes sense? What is efficient? I fly from like a 50,000 foot mark at first, and then down to 30, and then down to 10, and kind of hover over around that 10K mark as far as, how we go about building processes. But even in corporate America, I've built insurance call centers. I've built call centers for satellite companies. I have built life insurance call centers. I could go on and on and on in my experience, wow. But because of that, and just, kind of being thrown in and just having those, it's all about, like I said, asking the right questions about where you are, where you want to be, so that I can have a firm understanding of all that and then move forward. I've acquired a ton of knowledge and a ton of experience in different ways and things. And, if something works, then it works. And if it doesn't, then we, like I said, we adapt and we adjust. So no, I don't have a specific industry. I do, however, also work with a lot of entrepreneurs that have ADHD, because there's that added complexity of, their executive function skills and things like that, time management and staying focused and stuff like that. And because of that is why I've been able to create processes for any of my clients that are fun and flexible. Because when you have ADHD, it's difficult for you to focus or maintain a certain energy level consistently and things like that. But every entrepreneur is busy, at the end of the day, so it's just a different form of distraction. So I do specialize in that, having ADHD myself.
Man, I could also really relate to that. I know it's the ADD and ADHD is all kind of intertwined under the ADHD titling now, but I was diagnosed with ADD as a kid. So, that was when I was middle school. So I can definitely relate to the additional nuances and struggles and things that entrepreneurs and business owners that have the ADHD, at least on some fashion, whether it's like you said, the focus, or whether it's the time management, or a combination of several things to make sure that those processes are really custom tailored for them and being able to maximize what they're trying to do. So,
right. Yeah, it's all about breaking things into small, digestible, easily executable steps, no matter who you are.
For sure. And again, I couldn't agree with more, because I think that's something that enough business owners don't really look at. They're trying to take on too much at once. And like you said, you need to break it down into actionable steps or actionable plans. So real quick, how do you, I know we're in a virtual world now. Are you mostly doing things with clients virtually? Like, do you have a home base? Like, how does that aspect work with your business?
I'm solely virtual, and my clients can meet with me on video, phone, or I use Voxer a lot because, again, we're always busy. We're always moving around. So if they need to reach out, and then I can get back to them. So I try to create enough variety as far as options for my clients to be in contact with me, but I'm fully virtual.
Fully virtual. Okay. All right. And, outside of that, what is the best way for any business owner or entrepreneur listening on the podcast to get in touch with you if they want to have that initial consult? Tell me, is it your website? Is it your phone? Give your best way to get a hold of you at this point.
Yeah, I definitely say reach out to me on my website, which is www.processprowess.com. Packages, programs are on there, details, everything that you need is on there, and especially the way that you can schedule your consult to kind of figure out what tailor fit program is best for you. Okay,
perfect. Well, Tiffany, I want to again thank you for your time and your expertise and your background. I think I've really enjoyed our conversation, and I think and hope a lot of our listeners will as well, just based on your experience and what you can do to help business owners be more efficient and more effective in their time and grow. So thanks again for listening to this episode of the Inspired Business Leaders Podcast, and we look forward to talking to you next time. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you for listening to the Inspired Business Leaders Podcast, brought to you by Inspire Wealth. To learn more about the topics mentioned on today's show, or to listen to past episodes, visit www.inspiredbusinessleaderspodcast.com. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.